Recording in 3, 2, and 1.
Peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The force shall set me free.
Who the hell was that?
Awesome. Welcome to another episode of Nerdery and Murdery.
I'm Zig with your nerdery.
And I'm Geoffrey with your murdery. Welcome to another episode of the highs and the lows, the up, the down, the good and the bad, and the nerd and the murd. And in the house with us today, we have special guests, the illustrious, the splendorific, the wonderful Stephen and Mike from Two Geeks and a Microphone. Welcome, guys.
Hey,
Good morning.
And we
Good
also have
morning.
Megan with us from the show.
Megan!
Awesome.
Megan's
Awesome,
digging out
awesome.
some vinyl right now. It's good stuff.
Listen, if you want to geek out on vinyl, I can start pulling out some 80s metal. And
As long as it's not damn death metal.
Yeah, Jeffrey's not a fan.
No.
not the death metal.
no.
I'm more hair metal.
Yes, me too. And we're going to do an episode on that
Yes.
too. So, which will be
After we do the
cool.
Dead Milkmen. Sorry, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I won't be a fan of that one either. So this is part 2 of another crossover with Two Geeks and a Microphone. Our third one that we've done. We're very happy to have them on the show. If you're just joining us because we dropped in your feed, this is part 2, and you're going to want to go back to Two Geeks and a Microphone and listen to part 1, or you may be a little lost.
Yeah.
Please-
Hold
please
on.
and thank
Hold
you.
on. Go ahead and do that now. We'll wait. Okay. You guys
All
are back.
All right, we're back. We're back.
I love time travel.
I do too.
Great.
It's a
I
wonderful
do
thing.
too. Yeah, so we were on their show. We did part 1 where we covered the Sith Lord Darth Bane, and in this one, Zig will kick us off here shortly, and we'll start off with the talking about Darth Zannah or Zannah, or we're not sure how to pronounce it yet. Who was
You
Bane's
say
apprentice.
Zannah, I say Zannah. No.
Zannah.
And then we'll go over into the murdery side. It's not a part 2 of a murdery. What I did for Mike and Steven is I covered serial killers from the area of the country that they live in. So we got to creep out
Yay.
Steven with one, and
You very successfully creeped out Steven.
We're going to creep out Mike with another one.
all right.
With the St. Louis area, I think it'll be easy for you to find something.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yep.
Oh, we also found out that Mike lives up the street from Cahokia, which was the big mound
Yes.
ruin, which it was like the biggest city in North America. In
I've been there.
1200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was watching the Y Files. I'm nerding out with the YouTube channel, the Y Files, and they brought up Cahokia, how it was one of the largest metroplexes in how long ago? Like 1,000 years ago or
Yeah.
something like that.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
It's fascinating.
I'll
And they're
go there
also
and,
wondering what's below those mounds too.
Yes.
Is another thing.
Zig, I'll go there and take a picture at the top of the mound for you.
Top of Monk's Mound, please.
I'd be glad to.
It has been a while since we've been over there.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. Well, with that, Zig, I will let you take over on the nerdery side of the house.
Excellent. So I got most of my stuff from Wikipedia, not Wikipedia, Wikipedia, which is the Star Wars database for knowledge. And it's usually pretty good. It's broken down into 2 sections. You've got what you consider your canon section and what you consider your legends section. All the stuff I got for Zannah was out of canon. So
Oh,
I
wow.
figure you guys want to dive into the legend stuff, we can do that. So I just got a
Okay.
couple of pages of notes. I'll get through, and then we can spiral off into all kinds of crazy stuff. We derailed their show like 3 times with books.
Hey, let me tell you, it was awesome.
It was.
I'm so excited. It doesn't hurt that this is the 3rd one of these I've had today.
Nice, nice.
Oh my god!
I'm on my second iced coffee, so.
Okay, so Darth Zannah, Zannah.
Which,
We're
by
gonna
the
call her
way,
Zan.
one of the reasons I'm so interested in this is she is my daughter's favorite Sith Lord.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
cool. Okay. Ooh, I
Yeah.
can't wait. Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So big shout out to the kiddo.
So which pronunciation are we going to go with?
I say Zannah.
Zannah. Okay, that's what we'll do.
All right, sounds good.
It's pronounced Zannah. Just had to get George Lucas.
I've been broke down twice today.
His name is Han, not Han. It's Han.
God, you do that so well.
Thank you. Lots of practice.
So, Darth Zannah was a Dark Lord of the Sith and a Sith apprentice of Darth Bane. Zannah was trained to carry Bane's teachings and the Rule of Two forward after the war between the Sith and the Jedi Order. Approximately 1,000 years prior to the invasion of Naboo, the Sith Lord Darth Bane enacted the Rule of Two. The teaching mandated that there would only be two Sith at any given time, a master to embody power and an apprentice to crave it. As part of the Rule of Two, Bane took on an apprentice, Darth Zannah, to whom he passed on his teachings. Zannah escaped the notice of the Jedi Order. After Bane's defeat, his apprentice carried on the Rule of Two, which allowed the Sith to survive in secret while the Jedi falsely believed that the Sith had become extinct. Although the historical records were not accurate about the identity of Bane's apprentice or how Bane died, he supposedly died in a duel with Zannah on the inner rim world of Ambria, a pattern which would be repeated by almost all Sith thereafter. This is an excerpt from Darth Sidious's book, The Secret of the Sith, recounted the history of the Sith Order, including its reformation under Darth Bane and his apprentice. Sidious praised Zannah's master as a great Sith Lord. He acknowledged Bane as the founder of the Sith line of succession that culminated in the rise of power as ruler of the Galactic Empire. Sidious also credited Bane and his apprentice for starting the Rule of Two, thereby ensuring the Sith Order's survival through a succession of Sith apprentices ascending to the power of the dark side by killing their master, beginning with Bane's death by the hand of his own pupil. Though not all Sith apprentices were able to supplant their masters, Sidious successfully completed his apprenticeship by killing his master, Darth Plagueis the Wise. Zannah was first mentioned, albeit indirectly, in the episode Sacrifice, the 13th and final episode of the 6th season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. That is really hard to say. Sorry, guys. Zannah was first identified by name in the magazine Star Wars Helmet Collection 2. Darth Bane's apprentice was first mentioned in Terry Brooks' novelization of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. As the novelization was written before the identity of Zannah was established, it refers to Darth Bane's apprentice as him. Brooks' novels were based on the backstory noted by Star Wars creator George Lucas. The character of Darth Zannah originally appeared in the first issue of the comic series Star Wars Jedi vs. Sith that was released on April 18th, 2001. Everything other than that is considered legend, and that is what is considered canon.
Right.
What?
One of the one of the things that was funny to me is in her backstory when she was separated, because she was originally recruited to fight for the Jedi's Army of Light during the Rusan campaign. She was befriended by a native of the planet called Bouncers, which is funny because that takes me to Heinlein's Red Planet. Bouncers. So
yeah,
funny to me.
Wait, are we talking about Heinlein, the author we just talked about?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh wow.
I'm telling you,
my
everybody.
God, everybody rips off the classic sci-fi novelists.
Yeah, it sounds
Everybody.
like it. Sounds like it.
Wow.
Where have I been? Hey, I just got to compliment you too, Zig, and also you, Jeff, because I'm always learning new things from you guys, but also getting introduced to all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, just fascinating. When I say crazy, I mean really cool stuff, kind of thing. So now I got another book. Everybody just before the show, they gave me like 400 books that I need to. Now I
We
got
did warn
another
him.
one.
We did warn him. There's a couple rabbit holes we gave him. Like, you're going to go down
Oh,
this.
yeah.
You're gonna
did.
turn around and have
You sure did.
books.
So Red Planet Bouncers, and that's where Zannah is from.
Well, she's from Rusan, but Bouncers was a species on Mars.
Okay. Cool.
Uh,
Okay.
I didn't know Xanon really had Zannah or Xanon, whatever we call her. I didn't really know that she was actually in canon currently. So yeah,
There's not much.
Yeah,
There's
not much. But at least she's there, and that's something that Filoni can grab onto at least.
I'm sure
Yeah.
that's something that Filoni is going to grab onto.
I hope so, man.
Because Filoni was just as pissed off as the rest of us.
Yeah.
Even though he was involved,
Right.
he was just as mad as the rest of us.
Oh, you mean in the aspect that they did a whole Legends thing with the
Yes.
pilots? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's always grabbing from legends and doing things and stuff. I mean, this last season of Ahsoka proves that because
Uh-huh.
he pulled Thrawn into the mix, which I'm so thrilled about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's not canon anymore? All right, mofo, it's canon now. I guarantee you that's the conversation he's having. I bet him and Jon Favreau sit around lunch and giggle about how they're making stuff canon again.
I hope so.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to be a fly on the wall there.
Oh my god. Like I said, if I ever met Quentin Tarantino, I would ask him to please define film noir and sit and listen to him like this for about 2 hours.
Right.
I remember I remember you saying that on a previous episode.
Oh gosh.
Is it me?
It's you.
I was spaced out.
I
So
know.
again, there's not that much information on Zannah that is officially canon. But a lot of the legend stuff about where she came from, the bouncers, and the idea of the reason she turned against the Jedi is because someone killed her bouncer.
Wow.
That was it.
Okay.
It was loss.
You know, it seems like
Oh.
every Sith becomes a Sith because they have something against the Jedi.
Mhm.
You know, although Bane really didn't have anything against the Jedi. Bane was more his father
Right.
and the miners and so on and so forth. So I guess he's kind of the exception to the rule.
He was against the Sith Empire because he thought, oh, this would be great if we did it right, but we're not doing this right.
Well-
We're doing
So
we're
so
doing
wait a
this
minute.
wrongly.
Are we saying Darth Bane was part of it was suffered from the McDonald triad that we brought out in the last
He
Oh.
episode?
could have.
He sure could have been.
I don't remember him torturing animals though.
Our
Did you
He
set
set
things on
fires,
fire?
though, didn't he?
Yeah, there we go. 2 out of 3.
Well, he was great at the Force lightning, that's for sure. Oh, and you mentioned the Darth Plagueis novel.
Mhm.
That is one of my all-time favorite Star Wars novels. I highly recommend Plagueis if you have not read it.
Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Yeah.
That's James Lucerne, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Gotcha. Is the
Now
author.
that's been deemed non-canon, but which I think is silly
Boo.
because it enhances episode 1, the Phantom
Yeah.
Menace.
Well, going back to the bouncer, our window of opportunity here.
I can't not do that when someone says that word, by the way.
I'm
We've
so
done
gonna
it
do that
so
from here
much.
on out now.
Want to see something else?
No.
Okay.
My arms hurt.
Okay.
Idiot.
I love it when you say that.
We got a shirt now that says you're an idiot.
Nice.
The bouncer is the killing of the bouncer is directly related to how her story unfolds because the bouncer was murdered or was killed by Jedi scouts, And Zannah, who was then known as Rain, she was so angry she murdered 2 Jedi scouts, and this caught the attention of Bane.
Aha. See, it's been a long time since I've read the Bane trilogy, and I just refamiliarized myself with the first book, but I haven't gone back and listened to the second and third. Now I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah, her rage and anger was so great that it caught Bane's attention.
Nice. Well, Bane did murder his father,
Yes.
and he didn't actually intend to do it. He just did it through the Force, not knowing he did it, and just by stating, I wished you would die. I wished I don't remember all he said, but basically um the book described it like a hand just crushing his father's heart,
Hmm.
is the way it described it. So I could see why that would get Bane's attention.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's when he took her under his tutelage and began training her. And interestingly enough, she began a lot of her studies into Sith magic.
Wait a minute. Sith magic, like a cross between the Night Sisters and the Force?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Sith magic is very much related to the Dathomir Night Sisters, um, Sith sorcery. Um, different than actually using the Force.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. How to describe it best. It's Sith sorcery, Sith magic is generally those who can completely embody and release the full energy of the dark side. It's a much deeper tapping into the dark side of the Force.
Well, what did the Emperor say? What did Palpatine say in Revenge of the Sith, where he said that it's something others may consider to be unnatural,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because the Sith will embrace other methods other than the Force itself, where the Jedi will only use the Force. They won't dabble into anything outside the Force, and the Sith
Correct.
are more open to the idea of dabbling in other things.
Yeah, Sith sorcery, or Sith magic is the part of the dark side that that Plagueis the Wise was trying to tap into to gain immortality.
Right.
Ooh, okay.
Which is what Palpatine was trying to embrace also.
Yes.
Which I
Yes.
guess in a way he did when you get into the sequel trilogy. Yeah.
Yes.
The what? The what? No, I'm just kidding. I'm
Yes.
just kidding.
It's
I
not like
refuse-
Highlander 2, which doesn't exist.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, that's right. Wait, I thought isn't there a director's cut of that one?
Yeah, it's not any better.
Yeah. I hear they're doing a reboot though with Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill is Connor McLeod of the Clan McLeod.
I think so. Well, I don't know which part he's playing, but they're going to reboot Highlander with Henry Cavill. And so
Squirrel.
okay, all right, squirrel. My bad. Okay, keep going, guys. I love this. Window of opportunity. I saw that zig.
No, I don't have to do it when he says it. It's a scratch in my brain I have to itch. So yeah, but it's the idea of the Dathomirian sisters or the Night Sisters of Dathomir and how this magic plays out. It's not just the Force, it's other things as well. I think that's why they didn't want this stuff to necessarily be canon, because it's a lot of stuff to keep up with. But you're talking about a galaxy with presumably millions of years of history.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at least hundreds of thousands. You know, so you got a different. It opens up so much, and honestly, if I were the continuity department, I'd tear out my hair. I really would.
Wait a minute.
That's gotta be.
Wait, what hair? You've already torn it out.
I used to do continuity. Can you tell?
Well, now Filoni has really embraced the whole the Dathomir, the Night Sister,
Mhm.
Night Sisters. I mean, because he's brought them into the Ahsoka series, and of course they delved into that heavily in the Clone Wars.
Mm.
I found that fascinating that he is placing the Dathomir sisters in a different galaxy. Because the whole idea of Star Wars originally was the reason they have the Force and this magic is because they're in a different galaxy where the laws of nature are different than they are here. When he takes those Dathomir or the Night Sisters and puts them in a different galaxy, he does the same thing for them because Dave Filoni is a flippin' genius.
Well, I hope we get to see Dathomir.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
whether you know it or not, and some of you may know it, but Dathomir is the home of the Rancors.
Yes.
Or as some of them call them rankers.
Rancors.
Rankers.
That's how they actually pronounced it in the Path of Destruction audio.
Was Ranker?
Oh, really?
Yeah, they actually said rancor, which I find funny because it's always been rancor.
Yeah.
That's funny. Another thing that I thought was interesting about Zannah's training that I just thought was wild is when Bane decides to go to another planet. I don't remember which planet it was he was going to. As part of her training, he said, "Yeah, so I'm leaving. You figure out a way to find me," and left her on the planet.
That sounds like a Sith, man.
Right.
What a dick move.
Right. Right.
Now wait a minute. How old is she by this time? Because
She's a teenager, right?
I
Yes,
think she's 10 when he finds her, isn't she?
She was very young when he originally found her. But she's into her teenage years. Let me find it.
I want to say her two stories are spanned between like 20 years time. And I think she starts out like at 10 years old, and then by the end she's into her early 30s or something.
Early 30s.
Yeah, I would agree
That
with
sounds
that.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I want to
think
say
that's
when he's
correct.
really training her hardcore, she's like 16, 17.
Right.
Yeah,
Which
she's a
makes
teenager
sense.
when he's training her. Yes, when he's training her, where
So-
it's at the deep part of it.
So she was really young when she killed those 2 Jedi scouts?
Yes.
16 years old. Yeah.
Ooh, that gives you an inclination of how powerful she is.
But the funny thing about that is, the Jedi had this philosophy that you had to bring them in as a child,
Mhm.
as
Yeah.
like as a toddler.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sith actually embraced that in the Sith Academy. And Darth Bane was brought in as an adult. So it makes sense that Darth Bane would embrace somebody who's a little bit older than what they would have considered,
And I think we can all agree that's a bad idea. So, I'm hoping that Rey, when she reforms the Jedi Order or whatever the hell she's going to call it, it's like, oh, no, we let them become adults first.
Who's
Because that way
who's-
we don't have crazy people running around with
right?
death weapons.
Ahsoka turned out okay.
Yeah. Yes, she did. Ahsoka is awesome.
Yeah,
She had a life before.
It just says that when she was in childhood, and then it goes into after they relocated to Trick 4, that she was training for about 10 years to become a Sith sorceress.
Nice.
Ooh, that just sounds cool.
Yeah. Well, and it was one of the reasons that that it really made her so powerful was just that deep dive that she took into Sith magic or Sith sorcery.
Well, I mean, honestly,
Tony, get on.
the Metachlorians want balance. If we could just make them happy and give them balance, we don't have to worry about all of this war and fighting. Just give the Metachlorians balance. That's what they want. And since they're in everything, let's just do that.
Right.
But if
I
we
don't-
have balance, then we have no Star Wars.
That's true. Then it's a boring story.
Right.
Then it's My Dinner with Andre.
And everybody got along.
Yes.
Well, and I mean, in the end, Zannah did do exactly what the Sith are supposed to do, and she ended up killing Bane to take over the mantle of Dark Lord of the Sith, and then she took an apprentice of her own, Darth Cognus, as her apprentice. And I didn't find a whole lot of information on Cognus. I don't know if they ever wrote anything much about that or what. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, what presumably they spent 1,000 years trying to rebuild their power base.
mhm.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, I guess that's kind of hard when there's only two of you.
Yeah. Again, also think that's a bad idea.
Well, and that goes back. We'll go back to Darth Bane for a minute. Bane understood the long game, and he knew they were playing the long game, even though it was just going to be two of them. That it was going to be a long, intricate, under the scenes trickery and infiltration and things like that with the two Sith lords or the two Sith to undermine the galaxy and bring about them as the ultimate power. So
And it worked.
was the
I mean,
long game.
presumably it worked.
Right. It
Took
all led. It
1,000
all
years,
led.
but it worked.
It all led to Palpatine.
Right. Which leads to Rey.
Correct.
Who?
Correct.
I'm just kidding.
Who brought balance to the Force?
Oh,
Rey made the midichlorians happy.
oh, I hate that.
Yeah, me too.
I absolutely hate that. Nope. Anakin brought balance to the Force.
Yes. Yes.
You know, I think they should do something where Anakin's Force ghost comes and kills Rey. I am all for that storyline.
Awesome.
Someone is not a fan of Daisy Ridley.
No, I
Well,
think she's a fantastic actress.
Yeah,
I
it's-
really
it's
like
the-
her.
It's
in
the
that.
sequel. It's the sequel trilogy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the problem. The storyline was so convoluted and
Well, it's because they switched horses in the middle of what, the second movie, or was it the third one?
the second
Both.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they switched
Right.
the horses.
And
It's
then-
like,
right. And then they did
This
it
is not
again in
gonna
the
be-
third.
yeah, you rewrote it 3 times and then had
and then they
three different
actually brought
directors.
in horses into Star Wars. which
Yes,
was
they
weird.
did. Yes. To illustrate the fact that they switched horses like 4 times.
It's crazy. It's crazy. All right. Well, what else about Darth Zannah do we want to discuss?
All the pictures of her drawer is looking a lot like Mara Jade. I thought that was interesting, with face paint.
I didn't think Mara Jade. I thought that the newest Sith in Ahsoka looked more like what they were making
Envisioned
Darth
her?
Vader envisioned. Yeah, there we go. There's a Mara Jade right there.
Oh, look at there.
I have my Mara Jade Black Series action figure, which is a
Nice.
beautiful action figure.
Yes,
by
it
the way.
is. That's awesome.
So what I hear you saying is like the Shin Hati
Yes.
is kind of like Darth Zannah.
I think she looks a lot more like they portray Zannah. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I think you're right about that. And it's funny because there's all these articles that are actually comparing her to Mara Jade.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
I
thought,
never
yeah.
really thought about that. That's interesting.
We need to do a deep dive on some images.
I love it.
I wish I could grow facial hair. I can't.
I can grow it for you, Zig.
Oh, thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Oh, and she'll get head hair. Thank you.
Mine just becomes a scraggly mess, and then I have to shave. So
Yeah, me too.
I can't do it. Well, awesome. Awesome. Well, guys, I appreciate the dive down down the path of Bane and Zannah. It's two of my very favorite Sith Lords. I love the books. Really love the storylines. It's great. So I appreciate y'all taking us down that path.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is great.
Yeah. Well, with that, I will step over to the murdery side of the house.
Murder.
So again, as I talked about, trying to talk about serial killers from the areas that Mike and Steven are from, we already did Montana for the first parter, and this is going to be around the St. Louis area for Mike.
Oh boy.
I got my information off the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, Murderpedia, Fox 2 News St. Louis, Only in Your State, UPI, Medium, and another one from Happy Scribe. And this is the story of Glennon Edward Englemen.
Glennon Edward Englemen.
Yes, sir. So Missouri, as we talked about, has seen quite a few serial killers during its long and storied history.
Oh, what an opener.
Some, including Robert Burdella, which we covered, have become known better than others. Dr. Glennon Englemen's name, for example, didn't hit the headlines until more than 2 decades after he committed his first murder. By the time his name became better known in Missouri, he'd already killed multiple people. One day early in 1980, Joan Lang saw a frantic man running towards her dog grooming shop at 4455 Gravois Avenue. And he said, "My dentist has been arrested." And Lang said, "Arrested for what?" And he said, "Murder." But this funny thing was that wasn't what caused the man consternation about Dr. Glennon Englemen's arrest. He was upset because he was in jail and did not have his dentures back. The arrest did cause consternation among some of the patients of Englemen, who had his office in the 4600 block of Gravois Avenue. Others knew him as a good dentist, and citizens were shocked. But when a jury in federal court on September 25th, 1980, found Englemen guilty in the January 14th, 1980 car bombing that killed Sophie Marie Barrera, police saw it as a step towards wrapping up investigations that began 22 years earlier.
What? A 22-year investigation?
Mm-hmm. When he was behind bars, Englemen bragged it took the Soviet satellite Sputnik and Cuban leader Fidel Castro to take him off page 1 of the St. Louis Globe Democrat.
Holy cow. Well, you know, it takes the St. Louis PD some time.
Right.
They're still looking for a 1986 Blazer that got stolen.
Oh my God.
Sorry, man. So again, there's what we said before. Cops in the 60s and 70s had no idea what they were doing.
Right.
I think they were just drunk all the time. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what was going on.
So Glennon Edward Englemen was born February 6th, 1927. He was an American dentist, contract killer, and serial killer.
What a combination. Wait a minute. Some people may say dentists like inflicting pain, so
Right.
maybe that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Be a dentist.
Little shop. I love it. Little shop of horrors. I love it.
Dr. Englemen was, by all accounts, the trusted dentist of a loyal clientele in St. Louis, but he lived a dark, secret double life. He was a compulsive gambler and was known to be involved in shady business deals, and he was also a womanizer and had a number of affairs. He was a U.S. Army veteran and a St. Louis dentist, and he planned and carried out at least 5 murders for monetary gain over the course of 30 years. He was already serving 2 life sentences in a Missouri state prison when he pled guilty to the murder of a man and his wealthy parents in a separate contract killing that occurred in Illinois. Englemen was a sociopath, once stating that his talent was to kill without remorse, and he enjoyed planning and carrying out killings and disposing of the remains in order that it would net him financial rewards. We've talked about people who've done that before.
I have dancers in the background.
I see
It's
that.
cracking me up.
You know you're on camera, right?
Oh, goodness.
Sorry.
No worries.
That's all right.
Prior to the murders, Englemen had tried his hand at hunting, which became a consuming hobby for a time, and according to family members, he kept body parts as grisly trophies. He was slight and balding, and he appeared to be a kindly old dentist in the quiet South St. Louis neighborhood where he lived and practiced. But prosecutors said the mild-mannered demeanor was a facade for a madman who derived sexual pleasure from killing and mesmerized young women into setting up their husbands as targets for murder-for-profit schemes.
Wow.
Wait, so he was a dentist,
Yes.
a sociopath,
Yes.
and a murder for hire guy?
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So wait, let me get this straight. So you come get your teeth done, and then I'll kill your husband.
Right. Exactly. And other things too, which we'll get
Right.
into. No, I mean other things that he would perform that we'll get into.
Oh boy.
Oh gosh.
And a gigolo.
Well, Englemen reportedly had a hypnotic way with women and used his glib, superficial charm. He manipulated and coerced them into accomplishing murder with him for their victims' life insurance policy.
Oh my gosh.
Gordon Ankney, the prosecutor who sent Englemen to prison, said he says he does it for money, but I think there's a front. He never did it for enough to make it worthwhile. He related homicidal intimacy with sexual intimacy, and there was almost a sexual excitement about killing. He's said to have had quite a sexual drive, and has a very macho image of himself.
Jeez.
His first known killing occurred in the collaboration with his ex-wife. His ex-wife Ruth married another man, raised his life insurance, then Englemen killed him, both sharing in the benefits, and later he'd repeat these tactics for other murders. Investigators who interviewed Englemen often described him as super intelligent with an IQ in the 140s. The dentist refused UPI on a request for an interview in his cell in the state penitentiary in Jefferson City, but one of the last reporters to talk to him said Englemen spoke of parapsychology and signs of the zodiac. Bill Bryan, who is a veteran of 10 years as a city police reporter, said he knew through the stars that he wouldn't get the death penalty. He talks with very high self-confidence, almost cocky.
Oh my gosh.
And he was very well known in the neighborhood of St. Louis. It's said that he would give free dental care to the people who could not afford it in that section of town, which is kind of odd because he also called people on welfare freeloaders. So a little weird.
Yeah, but maybe he was using the free dental care to get the ones that he would, convince to kill the husbands.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying like in today's marketing standards, it'd be like a lead magnet.
There you go.
Headhunter. Nice.
Englemen would use his financial worth, sex, and charm to manipulate women he was close to, ex-wives, lovers, and his dental assistant, to help him formulate and execute elaborate murder schemes. This led to one of his lovers, Barbara Boyle, being convicted as an accomplice and serving just under half of a 50-year sentence. Another accomplice, Robert Handy, was also convicted and served time in prison. The methods used to kill his victims included shooting, bludgeoning with a sledgehammer, and explosives. But his exact number of victims is unknown.
Oh my gosh.
He's the subject of Susan Crane Bacos' 1988 book, Appointment for Murder, and the cases against him were reenacted in a rare two-part episode of the crime-documented series, The FBI Files. He was born the youngest of 4 children. He was raised in the middle class and lived in a nice home which his parents owned. He was also raised in a strict Catholic family and attended parochial schools. His father was a member of the U.S. Air Force, but then switched careers and worked on the railroad. And academically, he was an above-average student in school, but he didn't excel in any way. He also didn't act out in any way. He graduated in dentistry at Washington University in St. Louis in 1954. And he had been admitted under the GI Bill, having previously served in the U.S. Army Air Corps. In 1958, Englemen is suspected of the death of James Stanley Bullock, who was 27, who was a clerk for the Union Electric Company of Missouri and a part-time student. He was shot near the St. Louis Art Museum. Edna Ruth Bullock and James Bullock were married on June 28, 1958, and they'd been married for 5.5 months on the date he was murdered. James had been shot once in the chest with a shotgun and twice in the head and once in the left shoulder with a .22 caliber pistol. And Edna Ruth Bullock was Englemen's ex-wife prior to her marriage with James Bullock, and she collected $64,000, which in today's money is equivalent of about $649,000 from James's life insurance. Edna never did get prosecuted, though, due to lack of evidence. In 1963, Englemen is suspected in the murder of Eric Fry, who was a business associate of Engleman's at the Pacific Drag Strip, in which Fry and Englemen were partners. On the property, there was an old well that Englemen wanted to seal with dynamite. Englemen struck Fry with a rock, pushed him down the well, and used the dynamite to blow him up afterwards.
Dang.
Yeah. And then, without a second thought, Englemen launched into theatrics and began yelling for help at the top of his lungs. He screamed Eric's name over and over and demanded someone get to a phone and call an ambulance, and the murder was ruled accidental.
Wow.
He then divided the insurance proceeds with Fry's widow. Fry's widow received $37,000 in insurance benefits, and she later gave $16,000 to Englemen, who was a self-professed explosive expert. The drag strip went bankrupt in 1964, and Englemen decided to go back into dentistry, but it wasn't long before he was killing again. In 1976, Peter Halm was shot in Pacific, Missouri. His wife, Carmen Miranda Halm, a former dental assistant trainee who had worked for Englemen and had known him since childhood, ordered the hit
Whoa,
to collect.
Did you say Carmen Miranda?
Carmen Miranda Halm? Yeah. Did I lose you?
Oh,
Zig, you went on mute, dude.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think it was odd that their parents named her after Carmen Miranda. I just sorry,
Oh.
it caught my attention. Sorry.
No worries. She ordered the hit to collect a $75,000 policy, which in today's numbers is $309,000. And this is where we talked about other things outside of dental practice. Englemen had once given Carmen an abortion in the dental chair at his own practice.
Oh my gosh.
His medical knowledge in this was self-taught, and
Oh my
Carmen,
gosh.
Carmen almost bled to death during the procedure and had to be hospitalized.
Imagine that.
Uh-huh. But she thought that she felt she owed something to Englemen, as she hadn't felt prepared to support a baby. She collected the life insurance and gave $10,000 of the insurance to Englemen. Englemen ended up getting convicted of capital murder for killing Halm and sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 50 years. In 1977, Arthur and Vernita Goosewell were at their farmhouse near Edwardsville, Illinois. Arthur was shot. Huh?
I know Edwardsville.
You know Edwardsville?
Yeah.
Arthur was shot and Vernita was bashed to death. Englemen then murdered their son Ronald in East St. Louis, Illinois, 17 months later, so his widow, Barbara Goosell Boyle, could claim the millions in life insurance she had taken out of her husband, and she was the sole heir to his parents' oil business. Boyle collected approximately $340,000, which is the equivalent of $1.6 million today, following her husband's murder. She was charged in the murder of her husband, Ronald Goosewell, who was 33 in March of 79, and the death of his parents, Arthur 61 and Vernita 55, in November of 77. Mrs. Boyle was arrested in Florida, where she had obtained a passport and was apparently headed to Switzerland. She was convicted in her husband's murder, but was acquitted in the killing of his parents, and she was given 50 years in prison for the murder of her husband. Former prosecutor Don Weber said he was still disappointed Boyle didn't get a life sentence or the death penalty, remembering that Boyle, while at her husband's funeral, needed a place to set her Pepsi and simply place the can on the casket.
Oh my gosh.
He said of her once, "That probably describes Barbara Boyle better than anything I can say about her. The condition of her soul is between her and God, but between her and the judicial system, she has not paid her debt."
Ooh, what a phrase.
Wow, this changes Pepsi's catchphrase.
I know, right?
The choice of a murderous generation.
She did get released from the Dwight Correctional Center on October 10th, 2009. Robert Handy, who was the accomplice, pled guilty to conspiring to commit the 3 Goosewell killings and was sentenced to 14 years and served his time in prison. Englemen confessed to the 3 killings while in prison himself, and he later pled guilty to the murders and received 3 life terms without parole. In 1980, Sophie Marie Barrera was the owner of South St. Louis Dental Laboratory, and she was killed in a car bomb explosion. Englemen owed her about $14,000, which is the equivalent of about $50,000 today. and he had used the services of Barrera's dental lab but had failed to pay what he owed, and she was threatening to take him to court over the money he owed her. The blast was so big it blew apart the front door of the car, shattered nearby windows, and hurled the steering wheel onto the roof of a 6-story building next door.
Holy sh!
Dang.
I think he used a little too much.
Yeah. The explosion completely destroyed the lower half of Sophie's body, causing a severing of her femoral artery, which of course killed her. After the explosion, Ruth Englemen, one of his ex-wives, went to police and she started talking. With her help, police were able to arrest and convict Englemen for the killing of Holm for insurance money and then for the Barrera killing. And on September 25th, 1980, a jury in federal court found Englemen guilty of mail fraud and conspiracy to commit mail fraud in the murder of Barrera. And he was sentenced to an additional 30 years in prison for these charges. And then police started connecting Englemen to the murders that seemed to surround him. His third wife, Ruth Jolly, came forward about that time and confessed to police. She said that Englemen would often brag about the murders to her behind closed doors. She had suspicions that Englemen had plans to get rid of her as well, which is why she went to police. Police told Jolly she had to show proof to the police to take her claim seriously, but she said she feared for her life and agreed to secretly tape conversations with her husband. And on tape, they caught Englemen in his own words boasting about the murders in great detail. The tape was played at Englemen's trial for the Barrera killing, and he was heard telling his wife he wanted to quietly settle down and practice dentistry for a while. There's no possession on my part, no driving urgency to keep getting rid of my fellow man, Englemen said. His wife pressed him for a reason for his murderous ways, and Englemen simply said, money, 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 money.
He likes that cash money.
Yes, he does. But he also talked of a nice camaraderie that you have and closeness with the women who helped with the killings.
Camaraderie. I wonder if that's euphemism for something.
Right. Authorities do believe that Englemen...
It gets pretty steamy when you're committing crimes together.
Right. Authorities do believe that Englemen constructed the bomb, but that a second man actually planted it. The man's identity is known, but prosecutors said they lack enough evidence to bring him to trial at this time. In a later trial, Englemen was also convicted of damaging a vehicle in interstate commerce by means of explosive, also in relation to Barrera's death, and had 30 years added to his sentence. He's never getting out. Englemen was also accused of the murder by her son, Frederick Barrera. And Englemen was also convicted in state court of capital murder for the killing of Barrera, receiving a life sentence with no possibility of parole for 50 years after jurors spared him the death sentence. Bill Bryan, a Post-Dispatch reporter who had covered all of Englemen's trials for the Globe Democrat, said he had no conscience when it came to killing. He said once it takes a certain kind of person to kill another human being. U.S. Magistrate Judge Frederick Buckles said those of us involved in the prosecution still talk about what motivated him. I never thought it was just for the money, although there was always money involved. It always seemed to me that he got some pleasure out of the planning and carrying it out. Englemen could not be sentenced to the gas chamber for the Hall murder because Missouri did not have a death penalty when the killing occurred. He escaped death again when the Barrera jury could not agree on a sentence. So Englemen once boasted to a reporter that he was a celebrity in prison, and that a hitman had sought out his advice on killing. Englemen advised him that a shot to the back of the head was best. He once told a reporter, "Let's face it, I'm a celebrity. Jesse James, the Dalton Gang, and Dr. Englemen."
Wow.
His sister, Melody, said Englemen was asked to be allowed to practice dentistry in prison, but officials were afraid of lawsuits. And she said it's a shame to waste all that talent. Prosecutor Ankeny had a different view of Englemen's dental talents and said there was some thinking that he would practice on the prisoners, but the warden stopped that talk pretty soon. He was a lousy dentist.
That's why he was a contract killer.
Right.
Right. In March 1999, Englemen, who was 72 at the time, was pronounced dead in the infirmary of the Jefferson City Correctional Center, where he had a history of treatment for diabetes, and a spokesman for the center said his death had been anticipated. Englemen's killings inspired the basis for the 1996 film The Dentist, And the story was told in the episode Concealed Absences on Investigation Discovery series Deadly Dentist, which aired on December 8th, 2017.
Wait a minute. Deadly dentists, as in plural?
Yes, Deadly Dentist. It's a whole
More
series.
than one.
A whole series?
A whole series.
Oh my gosh.
Dentist.
Oh my gosh.
Causing people pain.
And that is my story for the St. Louis serial killer.
Wow.
Thank you, sir.
I don't think I'm ever going to the dentist again.
I have a great dentist, by the way, who is not a killer, at least not that I know of.
But is he a gigolo or a contract?
As far as I know,
Right,
not.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for taking that journey with me.
Absolutely. Thank you
Oh,
for
yeah,
bringing us along. Holy
You betcha. We
cow.
appreciate y'all being here. Everybody, please, if you're not already, please do listen to Two Geeks at a Microphone. That's the number 2, Geeks at a Microphone. They're a great show. I love listening to them.
TwoGeeksMike.com, right? Is that right?
That is correct. Yes.
TwoGeeksMike.com. Sorry. Go ahead, Jeffrey. Sorry.
And that's the
Yeah, no.
number.
The number 2.
The number 2.
They're awesome. I've listened to just about every episode. I think I'm about 2 episodes behind on their show right now.
I only don't listen to the things I haven't seen yet.
You know what? And I'll even listen to those because I listened to all of y'all's coverage on Andor before I watched it. So
That's true.
Thank you.
it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at
Even
all.
though I'm the spoiler.
Right, right. We're actually, after we got finished with, we finished Moon Knight. Oh, and Miss Marvel. After we finished Miss Marvel, we were like, oh, we'll go and we'll watch something else for a while because we want Loki to go all the way through before we watch anymore because we really like to keep watch him and binge him and everything like that. But I had forgotten that we had not watched She-Hulk yet, so that's going to be the next thing we're going to watch.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I loved She-Hulk. I thought She-Hulk was great. They break the fourth wall a whole bunch.
That's
It's very
true.
Parker Lewis.
She-Hulk is supposed to break the fourth wall. That is what the character did in the comic books. But I don't know.
broke some other walls too, I think, in that show.
Yeah, I heard all of y'all's episodes on that too, but I'm going to give it a watch. So
And I
Right
was
on,
excited
right
about
on.
it actually, and it was a rough watch.
But
Yeah.
I applaud you. Make your own opinion. That's
Oh,
cool.
yeah,
I look
yeah.
forward to hearing. So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I appreciate, Zig, that you liked it. You know, you have the right to be wrong.
In my defense, I like a lot of weird stuff.
yeah, it's very,
And it
very
kinda-
true.
And it kind of creeped into the weird stuff vibe, and it
Yeah,
Okay.
made me happy.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I loved Moon Knight. Moon Knight was great. I really
Agreed.
enjoyed that.
Mhm.
Really enjoyed that. I didn't like the ending as much. Not the post-credit screen. Post-credit screen was fine, but I just didn't really. I thought the ending just kind of trailed off.
Yes.
little bit.
Agreed. Mm-hmm.
But overall, it was good. I enjoyed that a lot. So
I heard you say that you guys watched, or at least Jeff, you watched Werewolf by Night.
yes,
Disney has just re-released Werewolf by Night in
in
color.
color.
Yeah. I haven't went and rewatched the color version,
I
but
think I'd probably like it better in black and white.
I'm thinking I might too, but I may watch it in color just to see. It'd be kind of cool to see Ted in color.
Well,
Yeah.
you saw Ted in color at the end.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. That was a decent one. I felt that one was too short. I was really surprised at how short it was.
Well, it was done in the format of like a 1980s after school special.
Yeah.
Which-
Yeah.
I kind of liked. I thought that was a interesting way of doing that.
That was cool. Well, awesome. Again, I appreciate y'all coming on with us. This is our third crossover we've done with Two Geeks and a Microphone. If you haven't listened to them, please go back and listen to them. They've been some fun every single time. We've had a blast with these guys. Developed some good friendships. Mike and I, quote unquote, watch the Cowboys together
Yep.
when they're on Sundays. Have a lot of fun with that, talking about what's going on with the game. So it's a good time. So really appreciate y'all coming on and spending this time with us. We got to be live on their show, which was the first time we were actually live on the air.
It was
So
fun.
interesting. It was really cool. So awesome. With that, you can find all the information for our show on nerderyandmurdery.com. That's our hub where you can find more information about the things we talk about, links to everything we talked about, plus pictures. You'll also find the link on our front page to our YouTube page where Zig spends a lot of time doing cool videos.
Yes, I do. Of course, we're going to publish this video as well as the playlist for every episode that we talk about, so you can kind of get some of the background of the stuff that we're looking at into. Kind of helps with the story, and we'll include this video in that list as well, and hopefully the video of the earlier part 1.
Yeah, awesome. You can also find the link to our merchandise where if you wish to show off your Nerdery and Murdery fandom, please do consider getting something from there. That helps us out with the show along with our Patreon, where if you wish to become a patron of the show, help us with our costs. It does not go to support the gas in our Lamborghinis we don't own and vacations we don't take.
Right.
I did steal the Lamborghini from Two Geeks and a Microphone, so
All spare in love and podcasting.
but we do appreciate each and every one of our patrons. Please and thank you.
Please and thank you.
Please and thank you. And last but not least, please don't forget to leave a 5-star review wherever you can. It really helps us and helps others find the content that may be looking for the information that we're talking about. So, Stephen and Mike, I'll let you sign out, and then we'll do our final sign out.
All right. Well, I've been Mike with Two Geeks and a Microphone.
And I've been Steven with Two Geeks and a Microphone.
Zig?
I have been Zig with your nerdery.
And I'm Geoffrey with your murdery.
Cue the music.
Cue the music. Ah!